is it tends to get pretty lengthy and pretty, detailed, because there is, construction has so many different items of work that are involved. So you would start from, say your cement works, which would be your PCC, your RCC, DPC, the various cement works, to masonry, and then plumbing, and why you have a list, right?
I have both. Let me share it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just going to share it. Yeah. So okay. I mean, we have items. Yeah.
Go ahead, bye.
No, so we've divided into certain sections, starting from construction preparation, which is basically prepping your site, to earthwork, concrete work, RCC, masonry, steel, roofing, plastering, painting, woodwork, finishes, then under flooring, skirting, wall cladding. We have aluminium work, waterproofing, landscape and external development, and finally plumbing and electric. There can be more sections, obviously, but these are the sections that were relevant to our project when we did our BOQ.
Yeah. So also, if you look at this, this list, it's basically mainly can be divided into two categories. One is civil works and one is finishing, right? So a lot of times what happens is that, especially for smaller projects which are privately owned, while, as the way design works, right, that you're designing, you have designed the floor plan, you've designed the building, the house, for example, right? So you've designed the house, but you haven't really pinpointed on exactly what finish goes where. So a lot of times you actually end up doing the BOQ into two parts. One is for the civil works, and then the second part is for finishing. And you actually do the tender for the civil works first, while you keep working on the design and finalizing details for finishes, and then you can do a separate BOQ and a separate tender for finishes. This also works because you, a lot of times you actually may have different contractors for civil works and different contractor for finishes. So that is what happens in real life. We'll show you now the second image, which is a detailed sheet for a BOQ. So this one is basically, what is the title?
So, I mean,
cement works, right? Concrete work. Okay, bye, you tell. I can't see properly.
Okay, so what we've done here basically is we've taken this concrete work items and we've placed it here with different details. Like the top one, the C10 that you see, is basically laying basic PCC at site, and then we have subdivisions of the kind of mixes that we'll have. So say 1:1, 1.5:3, which is cement, post sand, and aggregate. So again, we'll have various listings going from 2, 4, 3, 6, 4, 8, 5, 10. So we've done that, and the main sections, how we've divided it is we have the DSR code listed here. We'll explain the DSR in some time. Then we have the main item head, which is what the item is, PCC, etc. The subdivisions within it, the sub-items. Then we have the units and the quantity that we'll be filling in of what quantity is required in our project. That quantity can be calculated from your AutoCAD file, from your SketchUp, etc. Again, we have example. Yeah, go ahead.
No, and also I'm saying, like, as you can see, right, just one item, which is PCC, which is the first item, has so many, subheads under it, because we want to get rates for various mixes of PCC, because obviously different mixes are being used at different parts of the project, right? So, I mean, it ends up becoming quite tedious because you do have to calculate quantities for, small little items which are being specified at different parts of the building. Some of these civil work specifications in terms of which type of PCC will be used where, which type of RCC will be used where, will actually come from your structural engineer who's on the project, and he will specify that, you have to use M25 RCC or, different grades elsewhere. Then, for example, in masonry works, if you were, say, building in Delhi, then, you're going to look at primarily doing brick masonry. In Goa, you may actually be also looking at doing laterite masonry. So then there are different types of masonry that, become your items with different mortar mixes, right? So those will become separate items again. Okay. So, and then guys, so different items will have different units of measurement. Okay, so some items, like you can see in this, PCC is measured in cubic meters, whereas the next item, which is DPC, which is damp proof course, is measured in square meters. There may be other items like, for example, skirting or some masonry items, which actually may be measured in linear meters. So now, okay, it's super complicated, right? There are so many items, and each item is being measured in different with different units. So how do you keep track of everything that's going on? So he will tell you where to go to get that information, which is not obviously is not something that's handed to you in architecture school or something, right? And it's too complicated to learn in terms of just knowing by heart. So, can you talk about where we get this information from?
So I think I'll just skip a few slides just to show. So it's if you go to the CPWD website, CPWD Publications has this list of documents that you can download. It's too easy search of just search for DSR CPWD. You'll find them really easily. So these are the kind of items that you can download. These are the schedule rates, basically DSR. DSR is what we follow. It's basically Delhi schedule of rates. And you can download the various PDFs of the recent publications to the previous publications from that website. Apart from that, you can see schedule of rates for electrical work, specifications for civil, and specifications for electrical work, etc. I mean, it's loads of documents which are very, very useful for our work and to create the BOQ. This is our go-to documentation for not just the units but also downloadings of specifications. Anjali, you want to go ahead with the
No, I just want to say that in general, most offices will have a standard BOQ that, so I'm just saying, like, for the young, students and architects who find the concept of BOQ a little fearful because they've never actually studied it. No one will, if you join a firm, of course, if you're doing your own project, you will have to possibly create it from scratch. But if you join an office, most likely you will not be expected to create a BOQ from scratch. They would have something that they typically use for all projects. And what you may be asked to do is to add specific items of work that, maybe are unique to a new project. For example, if they haven't, for example, like if they're using dry stone cladding in a new project, which they haven't used previously, and therefore it's not included in their previous BOQ, that is something you may have to go and look up. And of course, if you are starting, if you're trying to do a project on your own from, a first project on your own, then you will be expected to create a BOQ from scratch, which also, as a starting point, it may be helpful to kind of get something from friends that you can build upon. So the CPWD website and the DSR that we're talking about can be downloaded. It's free. It is published every 2 years. It's updated and published every 2 years.